Hey there, this is Divya from Chalkboard Academy and this is Class 10 Mathematics series. In this, we are going to discuss part 3 of real numbers. So this is the last installment of this chapter, in which first we will discuss what we have done earlier, a quick review of those things, and thereafter we will be doing today's part. So the very first topic we discussed here are real numbers and the types of real numbers and the subsets of real numbers. Thereafter, we had done Euclid's division lemma, and based on that, we have found out the way to find out the HCF. Then we had done fundamental theorem of arithmetic, under which we have done composite numbers, and then prime factorization, a method to find out the HCF and LCM of different numbers. Now moving forward, we have some topics to do today. First one is some questions related to HCF and LCM, which we have not discussed in earlier video. Thereafter, we will do some questions related to composite numbers. We have already discussed what are composite numbers. Here we are going to discuss how to prove certain number is a composite number or not. Then we have irrational numbers. Here again, we have to prove that a certain number is an irrational number or not. Then we have decimal expansions. Here we will discuss about the terminating and non-terminating decimal expansion, and then how to calculate them. So at very first we will begin with the questions which we have discussed in previous video. So in this question I have already told you about the first part. Now we are going to do the second part. So here we are just calculating the prime factors of this number, that is 156. So let's see how we have to do. So we have number this 156. The last digit here 6, which is even. So we can divide it by 2. When we have divided it by 2, we got the quotient here as 78. Again it is even, so we can again divide it by 2. Now we have got odd number. Now here we have to check whether this 39 is divisible by 3 or not. How can we check it? By adding them. So 9 plus 3 is equal to 12. 12 is divisible by 3. Hence 39 is divisible by 3. So when we have divided 39 by 3, we got the result as 13. Now 13 is divisible. 13 is a prime number, so it is divisible by itself. So 13 is divisible by itself. Now we have got the quotient as 1. That's it. So these are the numbers which we have to show that these numbers are the prime factors of 156, and we can simply write it like that. 2 is multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 13 is equal to 156. Now we have another question which we had done earlier, and now we have another part of it. So in this question we are supposed to find out the LCM and HCF, and then we have to prove that LCM multiplied by HCF is equal to product of these two numbers. Here we are given with two numbers 510 and 92. So now we are dividing, because both the two numbers are even number, so we are dividing it by 2. Hence we got 255 and 46. Now we can see that here we cannot find any other common factor here. So here HCF is 2, and to calculate LCM we need not to do further because there are no common factors in between. So we can simply multiply 255 by 46 by HCF. So the LCM is this 23,460. Now to do the second part, that is LCM multiplied by HCF is equal to product of these two numbers, we have to do like this. So to verify, LCM multiplied by HCF is equal to A into B. Here A is 510 and B is 92. So LCM is 23,460 multiplied by HCF, that is 2, gives result as 46,820. And when we multiply 510 by 92, again we get the same result. So yes, HCF is equal to LHS is equal to RHS, hence verified. Now we will discuss some new questions related to HCF and LCM. So here we are given with three numbers 6, 72 and 120. Earlier, when we were doing two numbers, I used to tell you that we can leave that number like here and then can multiply those numbers directly from here. But in this case, we will divide till we get the quotient as 1. So for HCF, we have same rule that we have to look into the common factor. So here we have 6, 72 and 120. Now when because all three numbers are even, we have multiplied them by, we have divided them by 2. So we got result as 3, 36 and 60. Now all three numbers are not divisible by 2. So the simplest prime number here through which we can divide them is 3. So we have divided them by 3 because all three numbers are divisible by 3. So we got the result for 6 as 1, and for second number, that is 72, we got 12, and then the third number here we got 20. So the HCF, now we cannot have further common factor because already one number here has resulted into 1. So HCF here is 6. Now to find out the LCM, what we have to do, we have to further divide. So here we have left in that question, that part while calculating HCF. Now we will further divide because these two, 12 and 20, are even number. So we are dividing them by 2. So we got result as 6 and 10. Now again these two are even numbers, so we are dividing them by 2. So we got the result as 3 and then 5. Now we can even leave them because these 3 and 5 or both the two numbers are prime number and do not have any factor common. So we can simply leave them here and then multiply these numbers along with these two, or we can divide them till we get the answer as 1. So in one step we will divide by 3 and in another step we will divide by 5. So the result will be same. 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5. After multiplying these numbers, we will get the answer as 360. Now we have another question here. There is a circular path around a sports field. Now Sonia takes 18 minutes to drive one round of the field while Ravi takes 12 minutes for the same. Suppose they both start at the same point and at the same time and go in same direction. How many minutes will they meet again at the starting point? Now we have to find out the time taken by both of them to reach at starting point at the same time, and for that we have to calculate LCM. So we know that Sonia takes 18 minutes and Ravi takes 12 minutes. So now we are calculating the LCM of 18 and 12. Again by same method, by prime factorization, 18 and 12 both are even numbers, so by 2 then we have got result one even, one odd and one even. So we are going to divide any number from which they are divisible. Like we have taken here 3, so so I have divided 9 here, then 6 by 3, then we got result as 2. Now again we are dividing by 3, so we got the result 1, and then by 2 to get the result 1. Now both the two numbers we have reduced them to 1. So the LCM of these two numbers will be the multiplication of these four numbers, that is 2 into 6, that is 6, 2 into 3, that is 6, into 3 into 2, again 6, 6 into 6, that is 36. So time taken by them to meet at starting point will be 36. That's the answer. Moving forward, let's look. We have already discussed what are composite numbers. The numbers which have more than two factors, that is 1 and itself, more than 2 factors. So like here 4, which has 3 factors, 1, 2 and 2, 6, 1, 2 and 3, and so on. So now we have this question here. Check whether 6 raised to the power n can end with digit 0 for any natural number. So we have to check this, and to check this we should know about the factors of 6. So the factors of 6 are 2 and 3. Now these two numbers, and to yield 0, any number must have 2 and 5 as factors. But here we can see that we have 2, but we do not have 3, but we do not have 5 as a factor. Instead we have 3. So it will never yield 0 as the last n digit of number. For any place or for any number where n can be any number like 1, 2 and so on, we will never get 0 at the end of this number. So no, n can 6 raised to the power n can never end with digit 0. Now we have another question here. This is also related to composite number. So here we are asked the question that 7 multiplied by 11 multiplied by 13 plus 13, and another question 7 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1 plus 5 are composite numbers. You have to tell the reason. And we know very well that composite numbers have more than 2 factors, so we have to prove that. So here in first part, let's see 7 multiplied by 11 multiplied by 13. This is one term, and the another term here is 13. In both the two terms we can see that 13 is common, so we have taken this as common, and then we got the rest of the number as 7 multiplied by 11 plus 1. So we can simply see that it has total, these are two factors, 13 and this another number, and we have another factor here is 1. So it has more than 2 factors, that is it has 3 factors. Or maybe when we multiply and solve this further, like 7 into 11, that is 77, plus 1, that is 78. It is an even number, so it must have more factors. So this number has more than 2 factors, hence it is a composite number. Similarly, in this part as well, we see that this first term, that is 7 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1 has 5, and the another term, that is only 5, both the two terms have 5 in common. So we have just taken it common, and the rest of the things are multiplied as such, added by 1. So it is also the factor, it also has more than 2 factors. So we can say that this number is also composite number. As mentioned here, as the above two numbers are not prime and have factors more than 2, hence they are composite. Next we have irrational number. We already know what are irrational numbers, all the numbers that are not rational, like root 3, like pi. So these are non-terminating and non-recurring decimals. So here we have questions based on that. Before doing that, we need to know about this theorem. Let p be the prime number if p divides a square, then p divides a, where a is a positive integer. Like how? For example, if 2 divides 4, then 2 divides 2. Like we are going to use this to prove certain irrational number as a irrational. So to do these type of questions, we are going to make assumption, and these assumptions are false assumptions. The first assumption we have made here is let root 3 be rational number. So we have made the assumption that root 3 is a rational number. So we can write root 3 as root 3 is equal to a by b. where a is not equal to 0, b is not equal to 0. So we can, and here we have also made the assumption that a and b are co-prime to each other. That means they do not have any common factor. So now we can simplify this further. So we have just done like this cross multiplication where this denominator, that is b, has been multiplied to root 3. So we got the result as a is equal to b root 3. Now we are squaring both sides. So we got the answer as a square is equal to b root 3 whole square. So because a square is equal to b root 3 whole square, after squaring root 3, we got the result as a square is equal to 3b square. Now a square is equal to 3b square, that means that a square is divisible by 3, and if a square is divisible by 3, then a is also divisible by 3 by this theorem where p is the prime number. If p divides a square, then p divides a as well. So now we can say that a is actually multiple of 3 and some other number. Let's see c. So we can write a as this, a is equal to 3c. So wherever we had a in the equation, we will put the value as 3c. So a becomes 3c. Now we have 3c whole square is equal to 3b square. So we got the result as 9c square is equal to 3b square. By eliminating this 3, we got as 3c square is equal to b square. Now because we have this again similar equation like earlier, 3c square is equal to b square, that means b square is divisible by 3, and if b is divisible by 3, b square is divisible by 3, then b is also divisible by 3 by the same theorem. If both the two terms are divisible by 3, then they must have common factor called 3 here. So they are not co-prime, because co-prime numbers are the numbers which do not have any common factor in between them. So this is actually contradictory to the fact that a and b are co-primes. Why this has occurred? This is due to the fact that we have made the assumption that root 3 is a rational number. So our assumption is wrong and root 3 is an irrational number. Now let's look into another question. So this is another question in which we are given 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational number. So we have to prove this whole number is irrational number. So again we are taking same assumption, 3 plus 2 root 5 is equal to a by b. 3 plus root 5 is equal to a by b, where a and b are co-prime numbers. So we can say that root 5 is equal to a by b minus 3. A by b is a rational number, 3 is a rational number, then it must yield some number which should be rational number. Then root 5 becomes rational number, but we already know that root 5 is irrational number. Hence, a by b minus 3 cannot be rational number. So our assumption is wrong and 3 plus root 5 is irrational number. Now moving forward, we have rational numbers, which we already discussed in the first part of video, that they are represented by p by q and can be negative, positive and 0. These are the fractions which do not have non-zero denominators. So they can be terminating and they can be recurring numbers. Now we have rational numbers, so we are going to discuss about the decimal expansion here. Decimal expansion can be terminating and non-terminating. When it is terminating, we say they are rational number. When non-terminating, we say they are irrational number. So here terminating. So the terminating numbers must have only the multiples of 2 and 5 only. So they must have only 2 and 5 as factors, no other number. So like here we have 3 examples first example, very easy, 13 by 5. Here only we have 5 as denominator, so we can simply say that this number is terminating, because after one decimal place, it will terminate. Now we have another example here, 77 by 440. This number here we can clearly see that 440 also has another number, that is 11, but this 11 can be cut out by the numerator here, because numerator is also multiple of 11. So the result we will get after simplifying it, we will get only the multiples of 2 and 5 in the denominator. So this number is also terminating. Then we have this third example here, 3 by 50. Here also there is another number other than 2 and 5, which is 3 here, but 3 is cancelled out by the numerator here. So again this is terminating. Now if we are looking into non-terminating, so other than 2 and 5, along with 2 and 5 also, we can have another number, like here we have simply 7 in denominator, 3 by 7 in 7 denominator. Then we have this number 5 by 22, in which we got the number 11, which is this is why it is non-terminating. Then we have another number here, 12 by 30, which is actually terminating. So I make this number as 1 by 30. Now it is non-terminating, because now we cannot cancel out 3. So it is non-terminating now. So now without actually dividing, we can because of this fact, we can easily find out whether the certain number is terminating or non-terminating. Like how? Like here is the example, we have this 13 by 3125. For that we should be aware about the multiples of 5 times, multiples of 2 5 times, and for the combination of them it's easy to see. So like here 3125, which is actually 5 times 5, so it only has 5 as factors, so this number is actually terminating. Now next, 17 by 8, that means 8 has only 2 as factors, so this is also terminating. Moving forward, another question, 64 by 455. In this number we can see that this number has other than 5 and 2. So this number is not even, so we know that it doesn't have any 2. Now so while dividing it by 5, we got the resultant as 91. Let's see, 5 9s are 45, 5 1s are 5, 91. So this number is non-terminating. Next we have another question, 15 by 1600. In this part we see we have 2 zeros, so we do not need to look into them. We are simply looking into the number, because for zeros we can simply put the decimal there. Now 16, this is purely the multiple of 2. So this number is also terminating. Now we have another number, 29 by 343. 343, this is odd number, so we don't need to look further. We can simply say this is non-terminating, because the numerator is already smaller than this denominator. Now we have another part here, 23 by 2 raised to the power 3, 5 raised to the power 2. Now the denominator here is actually the multiple of the combination of 2 and 3, like 2 is multiplied 3 times and 5 is multiplied 2 times. So this results in terminating decimal, because if we multiply numerator and denominator by 5, we will get 1000 as the denominator, so we can simply put the decimal directly. We need not to even divide. Now in this 7th part, we see 129 divided by 2 raised to the power 2, 5 raised to the power 7, 7 raised to the power 5. Till 5 raised to the power 7, it is okay, because whatever number we have, we can produce zeros for them. So we can, if we didn't have this 7 raised to the power 5, this would have been terminating. Now because it has 7 raised to the power 5 as denominator, so this is non-terminating. Now we have another question, 6 by 15 here. Here we can simplify this fraction by dividing the numerator and denominator by 3. Then we will get the result as 2 by 5. So it now again denominator has 5 as the factor, so this is terminating. Now last part here, 35 by 50, this part 50 denominator, again it is multiple of 2 and 5, so this is also terminating. And the last part of this question, 77 by 210. Both the two numbers in numerator and denominator, they have a common factor, and that is 7. But still we get some number which is not 3 or 5. Here, after dividing it by 7, we got 30 as the result. But 30 is not the multiple of only 2 and 5. It also has 3. So this number is non-terminating. Now, to find the decimal expansion without actual division, what we can do, we can simply multiply the corresponding number. If we have denominator with only 2, then we can multiply by 5. And if we have 5, then we can multiply by 2. Let's see how. So we have 17. We have 17 by 8 question here. So in this we have 8 here as denominator. So 8 is actually 3 times 2. So we are going to multiply 5 3 times, which is actually 5 cube is equal to 125. So we will multiply numerator and denominator by 125. So the result would be, because we are multiplying by same number in numerator and denominator, so they are actually same, but the complex number. We have simplified version of the number, that is A17 by 8, and we have created the complex number by multiplying them by 125. So we got the numerator as 2125 and denominator as 1000. So after 3 place, because 1000 has 3 zeros, after 3 place we have placed the decimal. So the answer becomes 2.125. We haven't divided it actually. We have still found out the decimal expansion of this, because this is terminating. Now another question, we have 6 by 15. Here we can see that 15 is multiple of 2, 5, 3 and 5. So we can simply, and 6 is also luckily here we got numerator which is also multiple of 3. So 6 is equal to 2 into 3 and 5 is equal to 15 is equal to 5 into 3. So the 3 from top and bottom are cancelled out and we got the result as 2 by 5. Now to make this 5 as 10, we have to multiply it by 2. So to make the equation same, we are going to multiply numerator and denominator both by 2. So the numerator becomes 4 and denominator becomes 10, because we have only one 0. So it results into 0.4. So this is how we are going to find out the decimal expansion of terminating decimals, where only 5 and 2 and multiple of 5 and 2 are present as denominator. Now to do them, we have simple trick, like here 2 multiplied by 5 is equal to 10. Here 1 time 2 is multiplied by 1 time 5. It resulted in 10. When we are multiplying 4 by 25, we got 100. Here 2 is multiplied 2 times and 5 is multiplied 2 times. So it resulted in 100, which has 2 zeros. Now we have 8. So you can understand this relation. The number of times we are multiplying 2 and 5, how many times 2 is multiplied to how many times 5, that results into the number of zeros in this. So we have multiplied 2 3 times and 5 3 times in this, and we got the result as 1000. So we can simply either form this relation, or we can simply learn this as well. Like 8 into 125 is equal to 1000. It's not a very big deal. 16 into 1, it's 625. Or we can simply know this by trick, what I have told you, that it depends on the number of 2's and number of 5's we are using. So we can simply use this trick to do the questions where we have to calculate the decimal expansion without actually dividing. So if we have 2 4 times multiplied by 5 4 times, then we can simply write uh, 10,000 where we have 4 zeros. Similarly, if we have 5 twos and 5 5, then we can put 1 with 5 zeros. So here we are actually we are using the power of 2 and 5. The number of zeros are equal to the multiple of 2 and 5, where the number of times 2 and 5 are multiplied is equal to number of zeros. So we can, and if we are only given with 4, then we can simply multiply it by 5. So we have to check the power here of, if we have multiples of 2, then we are going to check that, like 4 8 16, how many 2's are there. And if we have multiples of 5, then again we are going to check the number of times they are multiplied, and exact same number of times we are going to multiply the opposite number. In case of 2, we will multiply 5, and in case of 5, we will multiply 2. So it's pretty easy. Here I conclude this part of this lecture. So this was the last installment of real numbers. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, then don't forget to subscribe.